Shaman King was one of the strangest, smartest, and messiest shonen action battle series that I've ever encountered. I don't know how or if you could ever make it work again. This year I began reading the Shaman King manga, shout out to the public library, to finally gain an understanding of what Hiroyuki Takei's Shaman King was truly supposed to be. I've watched it at least 2 times in 2 very different ways. The 2001 show caught up to the source material before the manga was over, and much like the first Full Metal Alchemist series, improvised its back half. The second attempt at animating Shaman King, while benefiting from the fact that the story had been completed, was this weird speed run that absolutely blitzed through the major story beats. So this video is sort of a loose review of and reflection on the first half of the Shaman King manga, covering the first 18 volumes. My major takeaway being that while it's near and dear to my heart, I think this Millennium era series works best if we leave it in the past. Not everything needs a reboot or sequel. Shaman King centered on a tournament that occurs every 500 years to determine who will merge with the Great Spirit to become the spiritual leader guiding humanity. For context of what it means to become the Shaman King, it is heavily implied, if not outright stated, that past Shaman Kings included Buddha and Jesus. So in theory, whoever wins this shaman fight would become the Christ-like figure of the new millennium. This is, of course, a wildly intense premise, especially if your early 2000s memories of Shaman King are, that's the show where they fight with ghosts, right? In terms of things I loved about Shaman King, I mean, gosh, there's so much. Yo Asakura is one of the most fascinating shonen protagonists I've ever encountered. He is this sleepy pacifist, which feels counter to just about every protag we've gotten from manga and anime since. Each shaman is paired with a guardian ghost. It's very monster tamer, like very Digimon or Persona, but then you get into Oversoul, where the spirit is placed into an object like a sword or a snowboard. You get these Bankai-like battle forms for any Bleach fans watching. The series takes place throughout 1998, 99, and early 2000. This moment in human history is deeply important for the story and themes of Shaman King. In 1998, the 2000s were a complete unknown, an opportunity for a culture reset. In the 90s, some political scientists were arguing that we had reached the end of history, that we had nearly reached the final stage of socio-cultural evolution. Shaman King supposes that an increasingly secular global society was losing its way and in need of some spiritual leadership to guide us into the unknown. And in shonen action fashion, the spiritual philosophy that would define the new millennium would be determined with a good old-fashioned tournament arc. Each competitor in the shaman fight represents a real-world religion or philosophy, or at least a fictionalized stand-in for one. Horo Horo is meant to be of Ainu descent, one of Japan's real-world indigenous groups from Hokkaido. The X-Laws are these Christian holy soldiers. For a 1998 manga, it's wildly diverse, but as you can probably imagine, a world religion tournament is deeply touchy and sensitive territory. That's one reason I can't see a series like this existing or getting greenlit in today's world. We see powers and concepts inspired by religions and philosophy in fiction all the time, but Shaman King was very literal, and while I believe Takei was well-meaning, his writing was not always so elegant. The patch play into offensive stereotypes. Joko is like a grab bag of racist tropes, from the way his lips were drawn, to his original name, to his backstory where he was a New York gangster. Shaman King is kind of like if that Coexist poster was a manga. Shaman King holds a certain naivety, an optimism, a hopefulness for the new millennium that I think here in 2026 is simply non-existent. We've lived through 25 years of this millennium. The characters of Shaman King were almost expecting utopia in the 2000s. Many of them were fighting to ensure that they could bring society a heaven on earth. I feel a sort of melancholy reading the story and knowing where we are versus where these characters thought we would be. Speaking of the turn of the millennium, I think my favorite moment in the first 18 volumes came from a quiet little scene that takes place on New Year's Eve 1999 to 2000 in Tokyo. Up until now, the series had been building up the year 2000. It's essentially been a countdown to the 21st century and all it will bring. While I was making my way through the manga, I was expecting the Y2K New Year's Eve to be some epic event in the Shaman King timeline, perhaps a major battle or the climax of the story even. But for Yo, Anna, and Manta, when that legendary night comes, it's completely mundane, totally unremarkable. Nothing really changes, and it's beautiful. Yo and his crew seemingly missed the countdown, and it's 2000 already. No hype, no build-up, it just happens. The 3 of them are walking around Tokyo just enjoying the crowds, the presence of others. Manta says he wonders what the 2000s will bring, and Yo asks, quote, "What difference does it make? It's snowing just like every other year. In every era, we'll still be ourselves." These panels hit me so hard. We spend so much time dreaming of the future, planning our New Year's resolutions, resolutions, our travel goals, thinking of who we are going to be in a few years, whether we'll fall in love, what we'll have accomplished. But like Yo said, we'll still just be us. Nothing of note really happened on that night, at least not for our protagonists, and I kind of loved it. When I say there can never be another Shaman King, what I'm getting at is that it's more of a period piece than we may have realized. Its optimism and naivety, its pacifist protagonist has no place in the modern shonen lineup, sadly. Its well-meaning but messy utilization of real-world religions and customs, I don't think would really work today. I think the series is meant to stay in the past. I'm not suggesting we should forget about it or erase it. I adore this series, but I don't think it needs a reboot or continuation in the same way that Digimon or Metabots is arguably more relevant as our society becomes increasingly intertwined with technology, the internet, and artificial intelligence. I think 5 years ago, when Shaman King 2021 arrived, I probably said something like, Shaman King is back, in a tweet or a video, but here in 2026, I've had this very sobering realization after reading the manga that Shaman King doesn't need to come back. That is not me disavowing it, it's me understanding what it was, an anomaly, a moment in time. While we can always revisit this original series, I don't think we need more Shaman King. Thanks for watching, for listening, for joining me on this look back. This video may have felt a little different structurally. I wanted to get my thoughts out of my head, even if it wasn't a formal arc review or plot review. In the next couple videos, I plan to cover the final arc of Digimon Beat Break, do a Cardcaptor Sakura Part 2 video, and get back to Inuyasha if time permits. Remember to subscribe if you liked this, as it'll help me reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers. Have a great week, and I will see you in the next video. If you're still watching, you probably enjoy my takes on 2000s era anime, and so you might like my original novel, Monster Revolution. It's over 200 pages of monster taming adventures inspired by anime like Digimon, Monster Rancher, Metabots, etc. It's on Kindle and Kobo. You can get it digital for $10 or $20 for the physical paperback edition. I'll put links to where you can read the first 20 pages and pick it up if you're interested.